Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. Start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is practice, and all of a sudden now the Skype isn't up in the upper hand window there. That's super legit. Hang on, let me turn it on. Boom! There he is, ladies and gentlemen. For somehow, some way, some reason, we had a little technical glitch there. Welcome to Painting with Menoth John, bitches. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host on a Sunday night, and that is, up there in the corner, the wind beneath my wings, the mighty yellow shirt, Mr. John Spencer.
Heyo.
John, we made it to another Sunday. God damn it.
Yep, we survived another week and made it to Sunday.
Hell yeah, baby. Big week this week. We finished up, I finished up my Scattergunners and Champs in preparation for that. And then Brush Chewer's mate John shamed me into not being 100% on Trolls. And I blame Brush Chewer's mate John because they probably will be good in Mark III. And because I think they sold like 6 boxes of them, and I have 2.
Oh no, they sold tons of boxes because it's the first sheet of people who had no idea what Trolls did bought.
Indeed, because they were so freaking cool looking.
Every collection of Trolls I've ever seen from a newer player has had sluggers.
Yeah, they're neat looking. So I'll take my time on them and paint them up nice. The idea is to get through with the other stuff that I'm committed to getting done with here for Mark II. I've got this little dude right here. He's an Effing Scout, or a Freet Scout. An Effing Scout. That's what I'm going to be painting tonight.
He's an Effing Scout.
He's an Effing Scout. He's a Necron 99 from Wizards. So we're going to go ahead and paint him up tonight, and that's going to be the focus of the show. Yes, D3 shots fired, even if they move, confirmed. You heard it here first, folks. That's right. You did use the proper number of exclamation points after confirmed as well. So we got that going for us. But you know, John, the first thing on the business section is we have a little beverage update tonight. I'm going to be starting out with the Angry Orchard, and I'm starting with the green apple, and I got the regular normal kind down below there. So when I run out of this one. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to drink that tonight, but we're going to start it off with a little bit of Mother's Milk here. We're going to have a little bit of the Kraken. What about you, John?
Well, I'm going to finish off this Cherry Coke, go into a Not Your Father's Root Beer,
Boom.
And for my shot of choice, due to announcements, I've got some nice Yukon Jack whiskey.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That is very, very timely. I like what you did there. You know, we're fucking professional here at Painting with Menoth, John.
Goddamn right.
We have a bunch of things that we need to talk about, and we're going to take them one at a time. The first thing I want to highlight on here and talk a little bit about is this right here, and this is high production. Oh, shit, we got to start off. Hey, Ron. God damn it. I'm getting ahead of myself. Is right here, painting with PwMenothJohn.com. You know, John, we've said for a long time the word .com. And now we are
.com.
We are fully .com, and really excited about it. We have made a break and have decided to move on from the Muse on Minis network and exert the kind of leadership that only the president for life of War Machine and Hordes can exert. You know, John, I really looked at it as a bit of a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know, as president of War Machine and Hordes, we needed our independence from Muse on Minis in order to really be able to bring you the kind of hard-hitting news and opinion that this show is known for.
Goddamn right. We rolled right into their place and we dumped all their tea in the harbor and burned their ships. And
I dressed up as a Native American and took my shirt off, and then they told me to put it back on, and then we dumped the tea in. And
right.
And that's how
I
we
don't care
rolled.
if they're landlocked, damn it. We dumped that tea.
We dumped that tea right there in Iowa Harbor. So
it was totally amicable.
it was absolutely amicable. So it was just a matter of, you know, folks, if you haven't heard the story, long before there was a painting with Menoth John, and before there was even a Menoth John, there was Serial John. And Serial John was my moniker that I used to write under when I had my own blog called Getting Small. And that it picked up some steam and had some regular readers. And it was also about the time that my first, let's see, it was one of my marriages was falling apart. And I couldn't keep up with it, but Chris G'day Miller had asked me to come over to Lost Hemisphere, and I started writing for him, and I changed my moniker back then to Menoth John because that's what I was writing most about, because that's what I was playing. And I had also, you know, I was working for General Mills and then later Maltomeal, and that's where the Serial John shit came from. So anyhow, so we're going to be, you can find our interesting and exciting opinions and stuff at www.pwmenothjohn.com. I don't know how we could make it more simple for people to find us, John.
It would have been difficult.
It was. PwMJ.com was taken, and I did not Google that, and I'm afraid to. But now it looks like that's what you're doing. So
Of course that's what I'm doing.
because you're the best in the business. And so that's what we're doing. We're leaving Muse. So if you want to listen to us, if you're interested in the audio side of the program, I'm going to direct you to there, and that is the RSS feed for this particular audio show. We had we have the video show, which of course is here at twitch.tv/MenothJohn, and we also have the YouTubes at youtube.com and all that kind of good stuff. But we wanted to also make sure that you knew how to still get the audio show, because I know a lot of you like to listen to us on the audio if you're like driving in your car or whatnot. And this is how you do it. The other way to do it is via iTunes. And we've been listed on iTunes for, since there's been an audio show. And many of you probably don't know that, because we only get about 27 downloads off the iTunes right now. And who knows if there's going to be 28 after we go through all this explanation. Honestly, between John and I, we don't care. The people who listen to us, and that's what we dig. We have always known and truly believe that we have fans that are very loyal to us and will want to listen to us. I mean, look, we got people in the chat room right now. They're chatting it up. You are the people that we do this show for, and so very, very happy to do this, and totally amicable. But crazy shit happened on the way to leaving Muse on Minis.
Yeah, on our way out the door.
I got tapped on the shoulder by the crazy guys up there in Ottawa from Moose Machine. And, John, it's a little known fact that I am part Canadian.
Very little known.
Did you know that? And it's true. Honestly, it is not confirmed with 3 exclamation points. This is actual honest-to-God truth. I am part Canadian, 1/4 Canadian. And I'm not sure how you can be Canadian.
You're more Canadian than I am American Indian.
Well, there you go. So
Only a little bit more.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, we're very diverse here at Painting with Menoth, John. We represent the Canadians, the Native Americans, the indigenous people of the United States, which we should refer to folks of that ethnicity, whatever. And
Political correctness has never been our strong suit.
True. Not sure how we can fix that, but we love all. We love all. We serve all. So there you go, and that's great. How would you say I have a little Canadian inside me?
Would you
that's
say
good.
that?
No, don't think I would. Anyway, So we tapped on the shoulder, and the crazy guys over at Moose Machine are starting something that they are calling the Moose Machine Network, or the MMN. And the MMN has a very lofty goal, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why you want to pay attention to this. Moose Machine Network is attempting to put together the first 24/7 network of solid War Machine content. Now, the way that it's starting off is that they're tapping an awful lot of us on the shoulder. So far we've got the Beer Machine is going to be streaming over there. We've got us. We have we have the I don't know. God, there's a whole bunch of them. And Combo Smite.
Party Foul.
Party Foul. We've got there's
a ton.
There's some talks underway for another hobby show that is going to possibly help us anchor the hobby aspect for that network. And we're all going to have our various time slots. We will, of course, be your 6 to 8:30, 6 o'clock, depending upon, if Game of Thrones is running. If Game of Thrones is off, we'll go back to our old slot at 6:30 until 8:30, and so on and so forth as the days go on. But it's going to be really great. If you haven't watched already on Wednesday nights, and I believe it's at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, this Death Clock has 60 Minutes, which is the Moose Machine variety show. Those guys put on a hell of a friggin' program. And I am very, very pleased to be kind of aligning all of this together, along with my good man, Mr. John here. And we are going to be kicking it up a notch.
Absolutely.
Anything else you can think of to say about all that, John?
That's pretty much it as far as I know.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're talking a lot behind the scenes, and we've got the Moose Machine Streamers Facebook page, which is a closed one just for the people who are streaming, which I keep on reading as Steamers, and that's different.
I did too.
That's different.
Totally did.
Yep. Moose Machine Steamers, which we hope that the network isn't a steamer. That's all we can say. But we're very excited
work
about
on our next all day cast. Then slot that in so no one else tries to.
We need to do
put
that.
anything in those slot,
Yeah, exactly.
Horrible.
There you go. So it's we're hoping this is going to be awesome. We have opened up the vaults to all 100 and some odd episodes of Painting with Menoth John to use as filler material. So it's going to be a lot of me and you and shit going on that channel. I'll tell you what.
Rumor has it we've got a lot of programming you could put in there.
You could fill up a lot of hours with our silliness. So
we have enough, I believe, we could be syndicated.
I bet you we could. There's a certain limit on that for how many hours you have to have and all that kind of stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, if
maybe we ought to do that.
Let's see, 36 and 8 times 6.
So the Twitch channel on its He Is King is going to be it's going to be twitch.tv/ I believe it's Moose Machine Network. So the big formal major announcement, grand big kickoff is going to be right at the time that Mark III drops. So this is a bit of a soft launch. For a guy my age, it's not something you want to think about. You don't want a soft launch. And
like my launch is hard.
Exactly. I prefer it to be a hard launch, but we take what we can get here at the Painting with Menoth John Network. And
I was about to continue, but I realized that is only horrible places to go.
No, that's all right. We're fine. We're good like that. So, John, we've told them about the Moose Machine Network. We've told them how to find our audio. We have told them about the new hotness of the PwMenothJohn.com. We still have sponsors to this show.
We do still have sponsors.
Somehow. We have, Adam at Greenleaf Terrain. He's going to sell you all that metric terrain. He doesn't even care. It's like he'll sell it to you in metric. He'll sell it to you in English. He'll sell it to you in a box. He'll sell it to you with a fox. He will not. He's that kind of guy, and he'll give you. You tell him you want terrain that is ready for Mark III. They're going to be terraining the shit out of those tables in Mark III, and Adam at Greenleaf Terrain is ready for your order. He's standing by right now. If you called him,
right.
if you send him an email right now, he might get back to you. And he would say, all you have to say is, give us some of that metric terrain Menoth John sent me. and
Yep.
he will hook you straight up.
He's ready for Mark III. He took his deep water and chucked that out the window, and he's ready to go.
That's right. Fuck that deep water. You know, it was a dumb rule, and now it's gone, and we can all be helped.
The one time someone said, "Yeah, deep water," and then my buddy had Shay hide in the water all game. He's like, "This is bullshit." I'm
Yup.
like, that's why you don't say yes to deep water.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you notice in the chat room, Adam from Greenleaf Terrain right now is listening in, and he says, "Really more terrain in Mark III?" Yes, really more terrain in Mark III. At least 2 or 3 more terrain in Mark III, and they have to be more towards the center. And now that you only get the benefit when your whole model is completely within, no more of this tone in bullshit. That means bigger metric terrain. You know, you're not going to want your terrain in the millimeters. You might not even want your terrain in the centimeters. You might want your terrain in decimeters now. So you have to. Only Adam knows those measurements, by the way. So he will translate all of your needs into what you really need, and he'll send you that good stuff at Greenleaf Terrain. So, do you know what else is super sweet, John, for Mark III is KR Multicase?
Yes, it is.
You know, in Mark III, there's going to be more beasts and more jacks on the table. And, you know, those beasts and jacks, those are kind of the centerpieces of your army. You want them to be looking sweet. You don't want them all jacked up and full of nicks and bullshit if you put them in some rabble bone. You put your beast in a rabble bone, and I swear it'll throw double ones all the time. Unless it's a threshold check, then it's boxcars, bitches. I'm going to tell you what, your beasts know that if they've been put against the buttery silkiness of the blue Butterfoam from KR Multicase. And, you know, if you went over to krmulticase.com or whatever it is on the internets, and you ordered that, and you put in the comment section, you want the sweet Butterfoam, like Menoth John says, I'll bet you that they would understand what you're saying. I'm not sure they'll give you a discount, but you tell them that Menoth John sent you, and they'll be thankful because they know that somebody pimped them, and my pimp hand is strong. Yeah, see, there it is, krmulticase.com. Yeah, boxcar, bitches. All right.
You know what else is good in KR Multicase?
What else?
Anything painted by Flight Medic Painting.
Oh shit! I'm going to tell you what. If you put something painted by Flight Medic Painting in KR Multicase, you'd probably rip a hole right then and there into the space-time continuum. You know, there's a color out of space, and H.P. Lovecraft wrote about it, and Flight Medic will put that on your model if you ask him to. Tell him you want the Cthulhu special, and he'll paint it up with that shit. Your opponent will take one good solid look at that miniature and will go insane. He'll do all kinds of stuff. His shit he'll run his shit up and turn it around.
He will fail his sanity check. Yes, sir.
Yes, right. We don't have morale checks anymore, but with that sanity check's gonna be a bitch. All right. Flight Medic Painting with KR Multicase, and it's like a great old one just happened. There you go. And you know, we got one more sponsor over here. We got the Clockwork Phoenix games. Clockwork Phoenix, John, were you aware that was run by David D.C. Carl?
I am aware of that.
David D.C. Carl is at least partially responsible for Mark III, and that's something we can all be thankful for.
Absolutely.
There you go. So he's got a couple games coming from in the Guild Ball universe. So they're going to be card games, and I know that DC, when he's not miniaturizing things, he likes them card games a lot, and so he is going to be doing some stuff for the Guild Ball universe. It's going to be super legit and totally sweet, and I'm sure that when the time comes that he'll hook us up with a preview copy, so we can tell you all about how amazing it is. So
absolutely.
And if he doesn't, it'll still be amazing. That's okay. We don't extort our sponsors, but unless they want to give us things, and then we'll take them because why wouldn't you? All right, so let's see. We've talked about our sponsors. We've talked about the all that kind of shit. Remember, folks, if you still want to listen to the audio podcast, because why wouldn't you? This shit's fucking gold. There it is. There's your RSS feed. That's the only scary part about this whole switch away from the Muse on Minis is that there are a lot of people I think that did enjoy listening to us, and without that RSS link or getting over there to that iTunes and looking up Painting with Menoth John, you're watching the show right now. We talk about the name of the show all the time. So get on over there, subscribe to the show. Get over to YouTube and subscribe to the show. I might have something to help these guys with to help remember this. I'm going to try and put it up here on the screen. Oh, look at that. Look at that on the screen. There it is. There's all your socials right there, except for the RSS feed. You got your main site. You got your YouTubes. You got your Twitters. You know, I Twitter every now and again, John.
You do Twitter every now and again.
I know, and they told me I'd go blind if I did that. And and then we got the Twitches, and we've got the Patreons. Oh shit, we almost didn't talk about Patreon, John.
Oh God, how can we forget that shit?
I know, right?
Sorry.
www.patreon.com. It's the shit right there. Here, I'm pointing at it. It's covering my face. We are going to we will take your money and turn it into electrons and purchases. And if you in fact, you know, while we were starting the show here, John, I got an email that Dane Leach just pledged $2. And that is super amazing. So thank you very much. That will net you a very hey Ron. That will net him a very swank Painting with Menoth John sticker that he'll be able to put on his car, and if he should want to, or he could put it on his laptop, or wherever he wants to, wherever he thinks it'll show off his loyalty. There it is, right there. And then if he should choose in the future and wants to upgrade for a double dose of my pimpin', he can
Double dose.
He can get the Crony Inner Circle bottle opener at the $5 level. It's super sweet, totally legit. So there you go. Yeah, he is also a huge fan of the werewolves as well. So
Yes, DC is a huge fan of the werewolves.
all right, folks. So there you go. There's all the business. We went a little long on business this week, John.
Well, we knew we were going to because it's not every day we leave Muse and jump in a whole new streaming conglomerate.
Could you imagine if every day we left Muse? I should
That
just
would be really strange.
I should just post every day. Hey, we're leaving. Still leaving. Swear to God. Yeah, we're still here, but we're still leaving.
One of these days we'll actually get out the door.
Exactly. It's the long goodbye. All right, so I'm going to switch this over to the painting cam. I hope. There we go. All right. So I've got my Effing Scout here. And
Scout.
got the Effing Scout, and I'm going to start off with the skins. Because the skins on this model, as it is portrayed in the in all of the literatures associated with the Privateers Press, show it as being kind of a pinkish skin. I gotta angle this up a little bit. All right, so there we go. And I think I don't know if I like that, John.
Well, you know what? The good thing is, once you purchased it, you can paint it however the hell you want.
I know, and I'm looking at him here, and I'm thinking like towards an Idrian flesh, perhaps, and making him dark. Although that's awfully dark. Brushhead's in the chat room. No, I'm not painting him frickin' orange brush chewer.
Madness Mini said go blue.
Go blue. Maybe there's a blue I could go with.
Mahogany.
You know what would be ironic as
Teak?
shit? Troll Blood Base.
I legitimately love that color. There's a lot of ways you can go with that color.
So I'm gonna go with he plays. He's going
Like
to
a
play with my
zebra.
trolls. He's going to play with my trolls. So I think I'm gonna try the Troll Blood Base here, and I'm gonna get a nice help. The only problem with this is going to be that washing him with Agrax Earthshade is not going to work.
Well, it means you're gonna have to up your game.
Fuck that noise.
No way, man. That's what it's all about.
All right.
Like I said in the last episode of Co-host Corner, sometimes just try stuff. Maybe you gotta find something awesome.
All right. Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it here. So I think what I'm probably going to end up doing here is then I will put like some kind of maybe it'll be like a snowy one, where he's got. I'll go with the Troll Blood base on his skin, and then I'll go with a very light color for his fur, and then make it almost like a blue polar bear kind of a thing,
Or like a tauntaun.
Yeah, like a tauntaun. Oh man, now you're talking right there. All right, so I'm gonna get my. So I'm gonna paint tonight with this Raphael 8404. I'm still not. It's a nice brush. I'm not sure that it's old school Winsor Newton.
Yeah, but what's gonna be?
I don't know what's going to be, to be honest with you.
So that's the
can't figure
problem.
it
And
out.
actually, this is a good little topic for us to talk on. Stuff's going to change in life, and your tools, what have you. Paints are going to go away. Paints are going to come in. You're going to have to adapt to it.
That's very true.
You know, just keep trying stuff. If it doesn't, I said this in my co-host corner. If it doesn't look good, just keep trying. Try a wash. Try a dry brush. Maybe you'll find something that ends up looking awesome.
Folks, if you want to get in on that co-host corner, the only way to do it is become a patron of the show. And John does an awesome job with his co-host corners, and they are available on the Patreon.com. So if you join up, you will get full access to all of that.
And so far, you've only missed 2.
Yeah, it's a good time to
Two.
join.
So, and occasionally I might tease you guys who
Oh.
don't have the funds, the desire, or what have you, to become patrons with a free one. We'll do it once in a while.
Yep, you just gotta let me know when you want to do that, buddy.
I will.
And I'm gonna get this guy blue. That's what I'm gonna do. So I switched out my sponge on my wet palette, and I'm gonna tell you what, this thing is holding a lot more water than the old one did. And
Means that old one was probably past its lifespan, unfortunately.
I think you're right, and for that reason, this guy is. The colors are coming a little bit more dilute than I'm used to, but that's okay. I've rarely gone wrong when I've had too much water. Usually it's okay to have it be a little bit. All it's going to do is it's going to help that zenithal shading do what it's supposed to do, I think.
Or worst case, all you have to do is put a second coat on, which sometimes you got to do anyways.
That's right. Brush Tour is a hell of a painter. Sarah has been just been cleaning up there in Scotland lately in the painting competitions that she's been entering. So we're very lucky to have her in here. That, and she's
Sweet.
kind of a crazy person too. She's awesome. We
She
love her.
fits right in then.
Yeah,
We're all crazy people
we
here.
we love her. Beer Machine Rich and JP and I have an ongoing Facebook chat that includes Miss Sarah Jane, and she's a pip. I'll tell you that. So what'd you do this week, buddy?
I worked.
Yeah, did you get any games in?
Nope.
I did.
Worked a lot.
I did. So I should I go ahead and give a battle report while I'm sitting here painting?
Yes, sir. Hit it up.
All right. So Thursday night, I have been enjoying the living hell out of the Company of Iron. I have to tell you, I think it's the best organized play thing that Privateer's done in quite some time, and certainly one of the most original. Having the ability to play games without warcasters is really fun and different, and it really adds a lot of difference to it. But this week I did play a game, a more regular game, but in the Company of Iron, what you do is you make sure that your platoon is a part of your army. So you make a normal 50-point list, and you go ahead and make sure that you've got all the elements of your platoon in there. Now, for Retribution, the platoon is a unit of battle mages, a ghost sniper, and a Dawnguard Sire driving an Aspis, which on the surface doesn't sound awesome. But I'm going to tell you,
Sound horrible.
no, but oh my god, it's so good. I'm really learning to respect battle mages more than I used to, and really learning to respect the Dawnguard Sire with an Aspis.
He's pretty solid. I mean, he's one of those models where it's like if you worked, you can make him work. And the Aspis is a hell of a light jack in that format because it's Phoenix Field.
Yep.
Gives it such a leg up.
It sure does. And with the Shield Guard, you can keep it really helps to make that Dawnguard Sire get to the battle.
And he's really hard to kill if he hangs out in base to base with it too. He ain't easy.
No. He goes up to 1519 or 1517. I can't remember.
15 somewhere in that 17 to 19 area.
Or maybe
absolutely.
1518, something like that. He gets quite stout standing next to his Aspis.
And he's such a damn cool model.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is. So, the list I made was just it was that plus a bunch of crap I didn't know what I had in my bag, and so I decided to make a Tyrone list, which for longtime watchers of the show, the Tyrone is of course Thyron, which I know is not your jam, but that's okay. We've covered that. And,
Battle Mage is actually pretty good with them too. They're one of those units I got good effect from.
and I had so I used Thyron, and I used um, let's see, I had Moros, 2 Griffins, a Imperatus, um, the Aspis with the Dawnguard Sire. I had a Gorgon in the list because I needed points. I had an Arcanist, and so it was just this hodgepodge kind of a thing. And I got to play Randy Culp, who is sometimes watches the show,
Mhm.
and he brought Thags 1 with an Archangel and a Blightbringer
Oh,
and a unit of War Spears.
ugh.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so we were playing the scenario that has 2 flags, and they're kind of offset and stuff like that.
Close
And
quarters.
is it close quarters?
I think so.
So we played the new terrain rules. So you got to have everything. So basically, his colossals were going to have a very difficult time making getting into the terrain because we were playing with Mark II style terrain, which is not big. So if you need Mark III style terrain, you got to get over there to Greenleaf terrain and get the real shit. And so it was really and Randy couldn't be a nicer guy to play. We hadn't played for a long, long time, and he had that stuff out, and basically, I used the terrain to keep me in the game. You know, we got it to one point where he said, "Well, I'm going to have this War Spear charge Imperatus," and I was like, he was going to assault him, and I go, "Well, you can't see him because he was behind a forest." And I was doing a lot of that kind of stuff throughout the course of the game, and I ended up winning the game on scenario. I killed an Archangel twice in subsequent turn.
As you do against Thags 1.
You have to. Turns out you don't get that done. Bad times. That's mission critical shit right there.
It's a hell of a feat. It's one of the most fair, powerful feats in the game, I felt.
Yeah, it's amazing, and the fact that beastie can't come and activate the next turn it makes all the difference.
Yeah. Only gets to move, doesn't get to murder your stuff.
Yep. So he had him stuck in there because otherwise I was going to dominate the flag again, and because I chose to take that tactic, it made him put the Archangel basically in threat range of what was left of my battle mages, which battle mages on a hill are pretty stout.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to hit.
Yep, and then I had both of my Mage Hunter assassins and Thyron and Imperatus standing in the bubble of the Artificer. And so defense 15 Imperatus is kind of a pain in the butt to hit too.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And so I went a whole round with those War Spears going into trying to get to Imperatus, and 2 of them hit, and they did no damage. So I won that game.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah, I was really, really happy with how the game. This guy paints up pretty fast.
So, Brush Chewer's actually got a suggestion
Yeah.
for how to paint the riders. She thinks you should do the rider's legs in such a dark red color, and then do the upper cloth and such a pale bone white for
Ooh.
contrast, I believe. It'd actually be a good lot of color on there, too.
So kind of like a sanguine base for his legs, and then do a pale bone white for the cloths.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's you know what? That classifies as stretching me, John, because
There you go.
I've always been afraid of doing the white cloths and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try. We're gonna give it a try.
That's right. Honestly, solos and such are the best time to try. It seems crazy, counterintuitive, but if you mess it up, it's only one model to fix.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so I got the blue down on him, and I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to bust out my favorite color for kind of whitish fur, and that is frostbite. So the other thing that's going to be nice about this is because it's going to be such a cool color. We kind of learned this when we had Chris Suri on the show is there's going to be a lot of cool colors, and then we're going to highlight with kind of a warm color.
I usually go a little darker for my fur base because fur dry brush up so well, but I'm imagining you do a wash and stuff can help too.
I do.
We'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. I did a lot. I do. Let's see. I do this a little bit with. I actually use this as a dry brush a lot of times too. And maybe we'll just kind of wash it down blue a little or something like that. Kind of help with it. This is gonna be a cool model when it's done. Like I said, it's painting along at frickin' light speed. And I have a feeling that when I wash the skin, I'm gonna end up washing it a little bit darker blue. So it'll probably turn out okay.
Yeah, well, again, if not, then you still dry brush and highlight up, see what you end up with. It's all good.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So the Blightbringer, I mean, it's a powerful piece, but I don't know that it is. I think it's fair.
Yeah. I faced one against I'm gonna call him Salty Frank, so I don't get my Franks mixed up. He's not the Franks in the Air Force. He's a local player. He plays Legion. We call him Salty because he gets so salty after a game sometimes. Not his fault. It's just the way he is.
Yeah.
And I played him with that in the 35-point, I guess, my McBain list. And it really struck me as that model was fair. It was not like the Storm, the
Stormwall?
Yeah, the Stormwall I faced the next round with Haley too, where I was like, good lord, that thing is hot bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, it wasn't like I could discount it, but it wasn't like I was worried it was going to completely and totally dominate the game.
Yeah, it certainly brought a lot of really interesting, crazy stuff to the table, but it didn't. Giving the War Spears an extra couple strength was really, really good.
Yeah,
but that's neat. I mean, that's a really cool support function that it gave.
Yeah, and it wasn't so hard to kill. I was like, oh god, this is worship, but it wasn't like so easy that it was trivially removed. I'm like, that's a fair piece.
Yep.
Felt that the whole game. That was good.
Yeah. So, and of course, playing against Randy was super sweet and totally legit, and he's a wonderful guy to play against. So, I had that nice combination of a really good guy to play against, and we made mistakes and we held each other accountable for our mistakes.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't dickish. It was, and I gave him the opportunity to have some givebacks, and he stayed pretty close to he didn't take them. So
yeah, well, actually, I mentioned that since it happened in my third game, which was against Evan, a kind of newer player in our group. This is a week ago Sunday when I played in the 35-pointer. He used a lot of stuff, and early on I'm like, Evan, this is the right way to do it. Evan, this is the right way to do it. And I just got a little harsher as the turns went on because he wasn't getting it,
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying. There was nothing malicious or intentional at it, but when he goes for his assassination run because I'm getting close to winning on scenario, and he goes to charge. I'm like, all right. He's like, I spend the focus. I'm like, well, spend the focus first. Spend the focus. He's like, I want to be here, and I'm like, well, you can't be there because you got to go around this hammer dwarf that's hanging out on the flag that's in your way.
Yep.
At the point, it's like, well, can I move them first? I'm like, it's a little late for that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And the good thing was that it actually blocked. There was no legal charge to the model he wanted to get to, which meant that he didn't have to throw away his storm wall.
There you go.
The bad point, of course, was that he had already put Haley up and time bombed my caster, which was, I think, probably all in that he didn't need to go.
Yeah.
And we know what happens to Haley when she's out there on her own.
Yup, she just dies.
He got some models in the way, so it wasn't like super easy, but he didn't have enough speed to get all in, all in the way. So
it takes a lot of stuff to get in the way for a good player to not be able to pick it apart enough to get to your caster.
Honestly, if he'd had a speed 6 unit instead of hammer dwarves, he could have gotten probably a couple miles in the way and made me waste some shots.
There you go.
It's one of those things, But that's what it is when you're playing a new player in the tournament. You definitely, especially when it's late and you're like, there's not much in contention.
Right.
The best either of us could have hoped for was third place.
Yep.
And at that point, you start. I held myself first turn of the game, first round of the game. I forgot to tune up my Earthbreaker. My opponent looked like he wanted to offer it to me. I'm like, nope, I forgot. Just keep going. Because that's how you're going to learn,
Yep. 100%.
They say, be the change you want to see.
That sounds like a deep thought.
It is a little bit of a deep thought.
Man, that's
sort
awesome.
of a motto at work right now. My boss threw it at me, and I'm like, all right. And then I throw it back at him, and he gets amusingly annoyed with me.
That's awesome.
He's like, you're not helping, John. I'm like, hey, you started it.
Be the change you want to be, man.
Yeah, the change you want to see, you know? If you want to play tighter, try playing tighter. I mean, if it's that kind of game where just guys are playing loose and do whatever, that's the kind of game it is.
Right.
But that's part of this thing I really believe in. It's sort of like I've tried many times to write an article on it, and then we might eventually see one on the new site.
Hell yeah.
It's the Wargamer social contract. You really have to know what kind of game you're trying to play.
Yep.
You know, if you jump in and suddenly you realize very quickly this guy doesn't care about the, keeping the rules exactly right. He's trying for the cinematic and trying to get it just have a fun time. Well, feel it out and have a good time. Or if you're worried, like let's say you play it and you do it one time and maybe you didn't have the best time, but overall it was decent. But next time you really are looking for a different type of game, talk with him. Say it to him like, hey, I really had a decent time last time, but I'm really trying to keep my game tight. So let's try and keep a little tighter game this time.
Absolutely.
If they're not interested in it, they'll be like, oh, it's not what I'm looking for. And you guys will find other opponents. It's okay. Or you'll discuss it because that's what adults do.
Yep. Don't be a dick. Just be grown up. Act like an adult.
The social contract you enter into when playing a game is super important. And I feel like we take it for granted sometimes.
I think you're right.
I feel like with the advent of games like 40K, which are not entirely balanced, or Age of Sigmar, which currently doesn't have any points, it is twice as important.
Yeah.
Infinity is another one where the rules are as tight as they could possibly make them, but there's still a little bit of gray area. You totally gotta understand where that gray area is. And sometimes if you haven't discussed it, you realize you haven't discussed it, in the middle of the game, you're like, be the bigger man. It's just a game. What are you going to lose?
Yeah.
You're going to lose games. It happens.
Absolutely.
It's better that you get in that right mindset and you have a good time.
Yep. Have fun with your friends. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
It's one of the, and I'm not looking down at video game players by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the social aspect of the game is one of the big reasons why many of us play miniatures games, is that we want that social interaction. So for gosh sakes, take advantage of everything that social interaction brings to the party. And that includes the setting up of a social contract to make sure that everybody that's sitting around that table is going to have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, you could honestly make it into an entire checklist you do. Like if I were to walk into a brand new store, I would try and mentally go through a little checklist of make sure my opponent knows. Like when I break out my dice, I'm like, here are my dice. The crazy symbol, the chain attack baby seal, is on the 6. Just so they know.
Yep.
If I break out this die, look, it's on the 1. I want you to know which dice is which because I got dice. My dice got dice.
And that actually is a problem that's come up in some cases in the past, and that is where it's like I don't know what a 6 is and I don't know what a 1 is, and there's no real standard to it. So you got to make sure that you're explicit about that early on.
It's all about that. It's like whenever people, I'll when we start damaging objectives, I'll be like, how do you want to count it? Left or how much is on it? And some of them will say one way, some of the other way. You just have to remember it and put it down. Now, if there was a consistent way, that'd be great, but there isn't. So discuss it with them and just make sure you remember.
Absolutely.
Or blow it up in one shot. That's what I like to do.
Boom. That's the Men Off John way.
Mage Hunter Assassin for the win.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I had some good. I had some. I didn't have that one Mage Hunter assassin roll that just went. It was like, but because you get those every now and again, it's like, oh man, that was good. That was in good times right there.
Last time I played them, I had the turns they went in hard on jacks. One did one did low damage, one did high damage. If you add them together, it was exactly average.
That's
And my opponent was like, God, that was crazy. I'm like, yeah, but this guy only did like 4 damage, and this guy did a ton of damage. You add them together, that's average. He's like, oh, yeah, that wasn't so bad. It just sucked over here more. I'm like, yeah, well, it happens.
Yeah, you remember the 4s much less than you remember the 24s.
Yep. It's a good one last note on that is one of the reasons Salty Frank is salty is because he blames his dice a lot.
Oh.
And,
Can't do that.
you have to. It's really hard to take a look at your dice. Sometimes you gotta step back and look at your dice and go like, no, you actually rolled average. A lot of the games he just rolls average. They just don't help him win. And unfortunately, the problem is I feel like his dice rarely help him win.
Yeah, and you need him to help you every now and again.
Yep. But that's why I look at it. I don't look at his dice were good or bad. I'm like, did they help me win or did they not help me win?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's probably all you're looking at. Those dice are going to average out. And then we all have those games where your dice are just on fire and you can do no wrong. But I've had games where the first couple turns my dice were on fire, and the next couple turns my dice were not on fire. End of the day, it ended up average. Just did they help me win?
So the thing about doing this Effing Scout that's different. I gotten so used to painting those damn scattergunners and stuff. When you're painting 18 infantry models in one shot, man, it is a refreshing change of pace to come over here to a model and actually make real progress on it in a reasonable time frame.
That's why we do the whole reward yourself thing.
Yeah.
Paint a unit up, then reward yourself by painting something cool, something you really want to, a solo or a jack or something.
Yep.
Because even on a colossal, when you're hand brushing, it's a lot of work, but stuff happens. You're like painting, like, yeah, I'm making progress. When you start painting a unit, you're like 1 down, 11 to go.
Yeah, it's just discouraging as shit.
Until you break the halfway point, you're like, yeah, 7 down, 5 to go. It still doesn't even sound good.
So
to get to that last 1 or 2, then you're like, yeah.
This doesn't look bad.
No, it's looking good.
Yeah, this doesn't look bad.
I'm digging that.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get some leather color out now. We're going to start doing up his armors and things like that.
You know what else we're going to do?
What are we going to do, buddy?
We're going to do some flippity bloops.
Oh, shit! Hang on. I better get myself some... I got to get some crack in here or something. Because you know what? We used to... back in the day, John, everybody loves it when I stop talking into the mic also.
Yeah, it helps.
It's fucking amazing. That's the best audio ever. Back in the day, whenever we would have a new segment, there would be rum that would flow. We kind of need to get back to our roots, I think. Now that we're on our own website, we got to make sure we pay homage to the roots. Old school bitches.
I'm totally not getting another shot of that whiskey. It would fuck me up pretty hard.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just gonna be honest.
How many people are watching the show tonight, buddy?
Oh gosh, I just put that 30. 30. Holy moly.
Well, hey, to all 30 of you out there, this Kraken's for you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
Good stuff, bitches. All right.
Root beery.
All right, folks, we're going to flippity bloop our ass off now. So,
Yep.
Mr. John?
I'm going to start with one I'm certain you're not ready for.
Excellent.
Jeff Easterwood asks, how many marshmallows can you fit in your mouth and still say Chubby Bunny?
Fuck!
Fuck's not a number.
No. Damn it.
I know.
Jeff,
I have it still sitting up here so I remember, because I've already got my marshmallows. They're still here.
Is Belinda Librarian in the chat room?
I don't believe so. What I might do, if next week if you don't have them, I might try it out and then set a bar for you to beat or something.
Oh, my God. All right.
They can become an ongoing challenge.
Oh, my God. I may need to have a rescue squad.
Nothing sounds better audio-wise than us stuffing marshmallows in our mouth and saying Chubby Bunny.
Exactly. That's some high-concept podcasting right there, folks.
I might have to start going into the... I might have to do a training montage of me stuffing marshmallows in my mouth. That sounds epic.
I'm gonna tie marshmallows to my feet and start punching marshmallows, just like...
You know what? I'm punching... Why do I have this watermelon on my feet? I don't remember telling you to do that.
I love the Turkish Star Wars.
Oh, all right. So I might do that on a co-host corner. I might start that off.
All right. Hey, are you thinking about taking co-host corner live?
I have thought about it actually because might add some much needed help. We will talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good.
I've had people chat. Like if you guys listen to co-host corner, if you're a patron and you listen, by all means send feedback in. More feedback. I've gotten a little bit of feedback from some locals who listen. It's good. But more feedback is good. I know I'm rambly. Holy crap, I'm rambly.
Yeah,
all right.
You got the dulcet tones though, bit man.
So from Twitter on March 20th, and God, I am so sorry that I didn't see this.
Okay.
It's from Joseph Merrick. He says, "Would you ever get subscription exclusive Twitch emoji?"
You know, honestly, I thought that you had to be part of their partner program and had to have a certain number of viewers and stuff like that in order to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know how that works, Joe. Sorry.
We might look into it though if it keeps going this way and we keep getting 30 plus guys. We'll see. It's on our list.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Next is an easy one from He Is King.
Love that
He
guy.
wanted to know how some of those Malifaux minis are to paint. He says they're quite interesting looking. They're actually not that hard to paint. I've painted two. I wouldn't say they were sparse on detail, but I also would not say they were too busy. They seem just right, though small asterisks on that. I kind of painted two large models. One on a 40, one on a 50, and they're both decent, so we'll see when I get some of the smaller ones.
I've actually painted some Malifaux.
What?
I painted a Lady Justice box set back in the day.
Oh, sweet. Old metal
And-
models, I feel the old metal models were probably a little more detailed.
Okay.
Maybe a little extra detail, if you will.
I thought they were fun. They were fun to paint. I mean, I don't get the kick out of them that I get out of Guild Ball models,
Mhm.
but I enjoyed them. They're fun. They're fine to paint.
Yeah, and there's lots of little monsters and all. Like I'm playing a Terra crew, and she has little void wretches, which are the cutest little pieces of nothing ever. And I'm got my test model because I've got the Nightmare Edition, which are bigger than the regular edition ones.
Gotcha.
Because why not? In fact, the Nothing Beast, which is like the big one, and they're all little shards of him, is so cool. He doesn't need to go on a scenic base because his body is large as the base.
Wow.
It like literally had a lip on it, so you like stick it in the base. You're like, yep, that fits on the base.
Well, there you go. It's all about the bass. That's what I've been told by music.
No trouble.
No, I have no trouble with that trouble. So there you go.
Oh,
Fuck that girl.
Here's a quick one. Go check out the Straight No Chaser version of that. Thumbs up.
Okay.
2 thumbs up.
Cool.
All right, next is from Declan Lowry. He posted this on our Facebook page this week. He posted a link and said, yay or nay. It's only 1.07 mil plus postage and handling.
Yeah.
And then, did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
For
And
everyone who's wondering, it's Megabot and Karatus. Karatus is the Japanese one, which is the one you can buy for 1.07 mil. I assume that's pounds because he's in the UK.
yeah.
Man, what a world we live in. That's pretty cool.
That is the definition of the first world problems right there.
Yeah, they're coming up soon here. I mean, we're only about 2 months away. They're gonna fight.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be cool. We'll see if we can remember to take a look at that and report back on what it ended up as. Maybe even throw a link on.
Is it going to be pay-per-view or anything like that, or how is it going to be? Is it going to be? How are we going to view it?
They can't pay per view that. They wouldn't get enough people.
Oh man.
They got to build the brand first. You know how it is. The first ones are free.
Yeah, gotta get that first taste.
That's right. And then you go and you make a pay per view.
Exactly. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very good. This
All
is
right.
coming together, folks. Holy crap balls. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Exclamation point.
So we're still building through old ones. So if anyone has any flippity bloops in the chat room that you want from recent stuff,
Yeah, we
that's
give.
cool. If not, we'll keep going through some old ones.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's get some other people here. Miles Healy, what are your thoughts on X-Wing? Looking to start playing with my 11-year-old.
I like it. It's a damn good beer and pretzels miniatures game. I don't take it too seriously. John, I think you had the best ways to play X-Wing, and that was with the more random version of it. Why don't you break that loose?
Rando is so good. And there's multiple ways you can play it. The way we would play it is we would just shuffle all of our cards together for all of our fighters. Just shuffle them up and then flip until you got, close to 100 points, about the 90-ish, maybe 80 something, When you get to the point where you can't flip another fighter without busting basically 100 points, you stop and you go find some upgrades. That's the core of it. It's super fun. Not always super fair, but super fun.
Yeah.
The more fun way is if there's a fighter you got to play with, you just take those cards, you shuffle those up, and you flip it. And then you go, all right, I got that, and I want to take this fighter, and you flip it till you get about the same deal.
And I like that because I think that the game, I don't ever want to play in a tournament.
No.
I've seen the tournaments. They don't look fun.
It's not even for that, because I played in a tournament once, 4 games, only one was shitty. But I'll put an asterisk. One of them was against El Marshall, and obviously I'm going to have fun that game.
Yeah, exactly.
But even the other 2 games, I had fun, even though one of the lists was a little bit degenerate. But we still had a good time. The problem is that they're evolving into the Magic format of events, if you will. I'm not going to go into it. There's a whole big thing with them. Let's just say, again, gamer social contract. Kind of understand what you're looking at when you jump into a tournament.
So when you say that they're going into a Magic tournament, are they starting to outlaw certain models, or
No, win at all costs.
oh, fuck that noise.
To spark an old debate that's since been solved by Fantasy Flight because they are on the ball. There is an event relatively local to me where the top 8 players all intentionally drew the last round, and they all made it to the second day because they all intentionally drew and no one could catch them.
What does it mean, drew?
They didn't play. They're like, okay, we draw. No winner.
Oh.
We they had rules for intentional draws.
Oh, fuck that noise.
So it caused a little bit of a stink with, of course, people on both sides. But now, of course, Fantasy Fight has addressed it. It's solved. They don't even allow draws in that game anymore,
That's good.
which is good because that was kind of degenerate. And
Yep.
I agree that they should have been DQ'd for unsportsmanship, unsportsmanlike conduct, but unfortunately, it's in the rules. You can't.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. When it becomes win at all costs, you're going to lose some of that. But
Yeah.
don't hold it against the players. It was the rules. It's a tournament. It's a big deal for them. That's their big thing. Just feel sorry that they don't have more fun.
Man, games are that is too fun of a game to treat like that.
Absolutely, it's super fun. It is, my opinion, probably the best. Like, you don't play a lot of games. Like, you ain't got time for miniature games anymore, painting and all that. It's the game to play.
Yep.
It's quick. It's easy. It occasionally slogs towards the end of the game when you're both trying to fight each other. But, you're adults. Sometimes you're like, oh, that was a good game. Let's go and have some beers.
And it's totally Star Wars.
And it's great for kids because it's easy to understand. It's totally Star Wars.
You roll
Totally
some
good for
dice.
kids. Thumbs up for playing it with kids. Thumbs up for playing with your buddies. Heck, thumbs up for playing it with random people in the store as long as you both understand where you're going.
That's right. And I think what's really cool about that random format that you've got is that it takes that douchebaggery right out.
Yep.
There's no possible way to be a douchebag when you're rolling random like that.
It's like when the top War Machine players would go into some of the tournaments and just swap armies.
Yep.
Now you have the challenge of, what do I do with this army that someone else made? What do I do with this group of models that I have here randomly?
Yeah. So,
It's kind of cool.
yep, absolutely love it. So there you go. That's our recommendation. Flippity Blue.
All right. Let's get one. Here's one out of the chat room. Maxim DT, who's his first time making it live on the stream.
Welcome.
He was thoughts on pigs working with gators in Mark III.
Super excited. So glad they opened up the design space for that. Minion players have always had that problem of having to deal with the pigs can't play with the gators and stuff like that. I think it's going to open up a lot of design space and a lot of fun stuff that you can do. I've got a handful of minions. I'm holding one of them. It's not really a handful. It's more of just like in my hand. And it makes me want to flesh out my minions and add some warcasters and add some pigs, because I think slaughterhousers are about as much fun as it gets in the current version.
Slaughterhouses are super cool. I like the models, like the concept. I'm really excited for it. I have a little bit of pigs. If you guys remember back in the day, Cindervale and I were playing the same Sturm and Drang army and sort of tested it out that way. It was super cool. And I have a box. I took a look. I have about a dozen blisters and a dozen boxes of minion stuff that unopened and assembled I should probably get to.
Exactly.
Including 2 units of bog truck amateurs, apparently. But super excited. It's a good thing. they always had a harder time, even than Mercenaries. And Mercenaries didn't have the easiest time with their restrictions, which are also gone.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with the mercenaries, because if it's going to be, the contracts are going to open up like that. I mean, do you have some details on that, John?
Well, the contracts are gone.
Okay.
They're going to be like themeless now. You can play everything together from what they say. I imagine there's going to be some small things, like obviously Renegades are probably going to be Magnus only, and the Commodore Canyon is probably going to be Pirates or maybe Shea only. I'm sure that's going to happen. But other than that, you want your, Kayazi to hang around with Constance Blaze. Boom, your Kayazi, you're hanging with Constance Blaze. And let me tell you something. As it stands, I'm not sure that's all right. But there's some models. Like, remember when I did my review of the Swamp Gobber River Raiders?
Yeah.
The big problem was that one of the casters they'd be greatest with was Constance Blaze, and they couldn't play with her.
Yeah.
Because Transference turns a model that's kind of mediocre to pretty solid. Like, I need to hit that model. Hey, look, I've got focus. Boom, go.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for that.
I love how in Mark III they've completely erred towards making it more crazy and more fun, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
It sounds like it's going to be just more awesome, crazy stuff. And I'm great with that.
And in Maximum DT also mentions that character restrictions are gone too, which should be cool. With them rebalancing everything, that should be totally legit. No longer do I have to go, do I put Rupert in this list or do I put Sax in this list? F it, I'm putting them both in the list.
I loved how they phrased it. It's like, people should be able to have Bloody Bradigus in both of their lists.
Absolutely. And I can't wait for Bloody Bradigus to be super legit to play and not just a fun random McBain piece.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
Because he's a great fun random McBain piece.
I have Bloody Bradigus painted up and ready to party. So.
Boom. All right. Here's a quick one we can throw real quick. Buffalo State, who is obviously a local to Madness Minis, there says he's new to the stream and loves it so far. Can you guys give a little rundown of who we are and what you like to play?
Sure. Do you want to start off, John?
Sure. I am co-host John Spencer. Actually used to be a local to Madness Minis when he was down in our area. I play a lot of miniatures games, mostly War Machine and Infinity and Malifaux. I like to play Mercenaries, Rhett, and Circle. In Infinity, I play Hakkislam because they're super awesome. Though honestly, I'm just playing them because it's the only way to play most of the Mercenaries that I want to play until that rules come out. And in Malifaux, I play random stuff, but mostly Outcasts because they're like Mercenaries.
There you go.
How about you, John?
So I'm Manoth John. I've been doing this podcasting nonsense since about 2008, 2008 and a half or so. And I started off at a little place called Lost Hemisphere Radio as my first podcast that I helped create and all that kind of stuff. And as for what I play right now, I would say my primary faction is Trolls, and I have been, but I will palette cleanse into Retribution probably first, and then back to my home faction of Protectorate of Menoth after that. And then if I'm feeling really crazy, then I'll bust out the Mercs that I have. But it's pretty much in that order these days. I do enjoy my Trolls. And the reason I enjoy the Trolls is when it comes to I start off with Protectorate of Menoth, and basically what I loved about Protectorate of Menoth is they saw a thing and they went and killed the thing. And Trolls do that very well also, but don't die near as hard on the way in. And for that reason, for a lot of things, Trolls fulfill what I want from Protectorate just better.
And
So,
he also plays the Guild Ball.
I do play the Guild Ball, although not as much as I should. And I have Engineers and I have Brewers for them, and I'm terrible at that game. So there we go.
But we have fun. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. This show is all about fun. It is about enjoying the game and enjoying time with your friends and just having a good old time. And that's very kind of you to say, He Is King. I do try to make a good time. I'm a former press ganger, and even though I'm not a press ganger anymore, my life just got way too busy to continue that silliness.
You
I
don't need to be a press ganger to champion the game. You
You
just need
sure
to
don't.
be outspoken and help new people.
I build the community through this little show we do on Sunday nights.
Or like I did, walk into the store. I told John in the preamble that I was answering questions from new players. I got introduced to them by one of the staff members, and they got this little pad with a list of questions, and I went through them all.
Yep, and that's and the show is absolutely about having a good time and not being a jerk.
Yep.
And that's all that we stand for. And if you are willing to have fun and not be a jerk, you are welcome to hang around on this show at any time.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Chris Andall, a local of mine, and you know him,
Yes.
says your favorite Zombicide season, if any.
I'm a season 1 kind of guy, and it's only because I have yet to break out Zombicide season 2, and I have not even really opened up the expansion pack for season 1. I like the game. It's about as much fun as you can have in a co-op game. It's just I never get it out for some reason, and but I like the season 1. I've heard good things about the latest one, which is the kind of
Dark Ages one?
the Dark Ages one.
I saw it set up at the local store. It looked interesting.
So I've heard good things about it, but I don't know anything else beyond that. So
I am not a Zombicide guy. Not really my thing. With the right group, I'd play it, but I find in a lot of games like that, if I don't control myself very well, I'll start playing other people's characters, and that's uncool, especially in a game like that.
that game
the
is
tacticalness starts to take over, and I have to rein myself in.
that game is 100% about who you play it with.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I definitely want to get down to Chicago and play it with Kathy Wapple and Jennifer Kleinheinz, because those two guys are they're serious Zombicide players, not from a serious they're serious, but they would be
They're
too
serious
much
about
fun.
having fun playing
They
Zombicide.
are seriously about having fun, and I think they would be really great. They've got a new podcast started up called Misfit Toys. So
Sweet.
I haven't listened yet, but I'm sure I will.
I don't get to listen to podcasts. I listen to basically one, and it talks about movies. It's called Junk Food Cinema. They talked about Clue this last week, and I love Clue.
There you go.
That movie's awesome. All right, next one is Cliff Hughes wants to know, which Animaniacs character are you?
Couldn't tell you. Never seen the show.
Oh, I am Slappy the Squirrel's nephew because anvils are funny. And you got to get pretty deep into the show to understand that one.
Yeah, I'm just old enough to have missed it.
It was too bad. It was pretty funny at points.
I don't doubt it. I absolutely do not doubt it. But
Which
I
Bugs
didn't-
Bunny character are you?
Oh boy. I'm a little Daffy Duck, to be honest.
Fair enough.
In the good and the bad that goes with that.
I like to think of myself as the Roadrunner.
There you go.
I fool up enemies' plans just by sheer happenstance and randomness. I'm glad I'm not Wile E. Coyote. I hope no one is Wile E. Coyote, because that would be a hell of a life to live.
He has a tough time.
He does.
He has a tough time. He needs to consider something other than Acme for his sourcing.
Yeah, no doubt. Acme. Whew. Cody Anderson asks, do we play any phone games?
I call up pizza joints and order pizza for people, and then have them delivered. No,
Pizza delivery. I see.
No, let's see. For for phone games. I like there's a game called Plague Incorporated, where you essentially play as a virus,
Oh, I've seen that one.
and you're
That's
trying to wipe out the world. That game is pretty fun.
You name the virus whatever you want, so you call it ex-wife number one and
No, I
next
usually call it the motherfucker.
the motherfucker.
Yeah, because it's fun to see the headlines go. The motherfucker has just killed its first person.
Well, that's the bad guy in kick ass too.
Well, it's also from a Henry Rollins stand-up routine, where Henry Rollins was saying that they shouldn't call it El Nino.
They should call it the
They
motherfucker.
should call it the motherfucker. The motherfucker today made landfall in India, killing 64 people.
That would work.
There you go.
All right. Roderick Neil Ball asks, paper or plastic?
I'm a plastic kind of guy. And the reason I'm a plastic kind of guy is that, first off, highly recyclable. Secondly, it is I use those bags for liners in my bathrooms. So, like, if I have a waste paper basket, I'll put that in here. You know, right over here, I've got a waste paper basket. It has a garbage bag liner in it. So there you go. What about you, John? Paper, or plastic? Babe?
Paper, because I have fond memories of having to make covers for my old textbooks out of paper bags.
There you go. There you go.
You
See?
draw on them, so you're not getting trouble for drawing on the book.
There you go. See, there's a lot of different ways you can take that. So I basically, you know, what I think is that watchers of this show should basically do as they please.
Damn right. George Sweetser asks, if you were going to build a giant super weapon capable of destroying planets, what food do you serve Tuesdays in the cafeteria?
Oh God, you know, if you're gonna design a gun like that, it's feeling like Tater Tot Tuesdays.
Taco pizza.
Ooh, taco pizza was legit.
I had taco pizza last Wednesday because the Pi 5 started doing that as their special, and I figured I had to try it.
And
It was legit.
good.
I'm not sure it was their best, but it was legit.
So George, by the way, in case you didn't know, is the mastermind behind Moose Machine Network.
Oh, that's why that name looks familiar.
That's right.
That flippity bloop came before I knew who he was.
There you go. There you go. So he actually got the idea for Moose Machine by watching Painting with Menoth John. So
Boom.
another
Inspirational.
another podcast we are indirectly responsible for causing.
Super legit.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get, we don't have a lot of time. Let's not get too serious then.
Nope.
Where
Where does the time go, John? Where does the time go?
I do not know. That's a metaphysical question.
It is. It's more metaphysical.
Technically, it
than
really
we're
doesn't
used
go
to.
anywhere. It's still there. It's just past.
Oh my God. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no. Michael Christopherson asks, have you had any success with Horthol, the pole dancer of the apocalypse?
Horthol, the solo for the Tuffalos?
I would assume so. It's only Horthol I know.
Yeah, he's like the best Cav solo ever. He turns the Tuffalos up to 85, not just 11, 85, by giving them the extra die on their impact attacks. He's amazing. In fact, I would go so far as to say don't leave home without him when it comes to Tuffalos.
Well, it's funny. I actually feel like he is more in balance with other Cav solos than the Tuffalos are in balance with Cav.
I think that's probably a fair statement, because the Tuffalos are far and away the best heavy Cav in the game. It's not even close.
Yes. And I wouldn't mind as long as the points reflect that. But Mark III, it's all going to be balanced.
Yeah.
They told us that.
Yeah, I think that Tuffalos though are still going to be good. I think in general they want to make Cav better, and it almost seems like the one of the guiding principles is let's get this model count somewhat under control, so that the game doesn't go so long.
What? It's not like certain mercenary players are bringing like 65 models in a 50-point army.
I know. I'm glad that they're going to address mechanothralls.
Yeah, Mechanothralls were kind of...
Degenerate and bad for the game?
Their hardware in the right place and they're making them. Like, yeah, these guys are going to be trash. And they're like, oh, shit, this is correct.
Oh, my God.
These guys aren't trash.
Those aren't POW 12 fists. Those are POW 17 fists. Because you can swing the armor that hard.
Yep.
Anyway.
Like, they're a unit that would be balanced in other factions, but in the faction they're in, they're not.
They're not even close. So
And again, figure out what Stormblades would be in fucking Crix. Huh! They'd be horrific.
Stormblades are going to be a thing in Mark III. You mark my word. They are going to get turned up to 11.
they were already pretty good. The problem was people just didn't want to take the time to use them properly, and I feel we've discussed this a little bit. I feel that's a problem with a lot of the units people didn't like is they weren't easy buttons. So like, they're not easy button. Hammer dwarves, easy button. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean they had a tough time getting to the fight at armor 15. You had to cast arcane shield on them to get them to the party, which I know that a lot of people didn't want to do, even though they had arcane shield on a stick anytime they wanted it for 3 points. But
That's what they made Haley 1 and Striker 1 for.
Yep.
I put arcane shield on them. Junior, you put arcane shield on the Stormwall.
yep, and life is beautiful.
Yeah, it works. This just in.
Yeah, just in. It's one per caster. You can have them in 2 places.
Yep.
So anyway.
Oh, so we still got more left, but we made a good dent in them.
Hell yeah, baby. Well, I didn't ask for questions this week.
It was probably a good call. Yeah, I feel like we've staved off the need to do a special on questions. But
Well,
if we
that's
want
okay.
to, we can ask for a bunch of questions over a couple weeks and do a special.
You know, folks, we love getting together for a special every now and again. We haven't done one in quite some time. So if you would like to see us do a special, I think the best thing you can do is get onto one of the threads and just start flippity blooping the shit out of it. And we'll do a special. Excuse me, if you want us to.
Absolutely.
Almost
Make
threw up.
sure you tag me if it's not in one of the Painting with John threads so that I can jump in and keep track of them because I do that.
Yep. You know, I made pretty damn good progress on this guy for a show.
Absolutely. He's coming along well.
Yeah, I like it.
Honestly, he is almost fieldable in a fully painted thing as you have him now.
Oh, he is fieldable actually. Do you have to be based?
Generally.
Okay, I could throw some sand on here and call him based in a heartbeat. So
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. I mean, he's got paint everywhere. He's got more than 3, and he's going to turn out cool. He's going to challenge me with that fur and that blue skin, though. I'll tell you that. I don't know where
That's
I'm
good.
going with that one, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to stop painting now, so I can go on the face cam for our last. Actually, we have to go on to everybody's favorite cam, which is the John Spencer cam.
That's everyone's favorite. They can see that I shaved the beard a little bit.
There we go. Yeah, you did. It's not as grizzy, and but I'm still
It's a
liking
little
the
less
shape.
unruly, thus it can be ruled.
Some good shit right there.
Oh, all right. I only watched 2 movies this week.
Oh, that's fine.
One little movie called The Force Awakens.
Mm.
Spoiler.
I watched that
Still
too.
good.
I watched that too.
Did you watch the deleted scenes yet?
I have not watched deleted scenes yet.
So, deleted scenes, there was about half dozen of them.
Yep.
Only one of them I actually felt should have been in the movie.
Really?
Yes. The rest of them, like, one was like, this would have introduced characters before they were in the movie, so didn't need to be in there. This would have been cool but extraneous. Most of the rest were unnecessary. Like, apparently there was a whole snowspeeder chase with Rey and Finn versus some snowtroopers when they were leaving that whole the whole complex.
Huh. When they were leaving Star Killer base and were
when
like,
they're heading back to Millennium Falcon,
Yeah.
apparently there was a snowspeeder chase that they just cut the whole thing out.
that sounds.
And while I feel like that could have been cool, I feel like there's probably enough action in that latter half of the movie. They don't need to do that.
Yeah, I agree. That wasn't fully necessary.
So like only one, and it would happen really early in the movie. It was really short, and I don't know why they cut it. Maybe it just stalled the pacing they were establishing early too much.
Yeah, I'm not
But,
going to argue with it.
But I would definitely watch them, so you can see that one. You'll know exactly which one it is. It's the first one they put in there, and you're like, yeah, that one probably should have been there.
We're getting a little bit of a complaint on the Moose machine when here that I need to put an outline on it, and against the black I can see that.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, maybe a little white outline around it would help.
How about what? Maybe
It's
I'll
all
put,
good.
Here we go. We'll put it up in your window now. Boom. That's just how we roll.
Boom. Oh, did you watch anything this week, John?
Let me see. What did I watch? Oh God, yeah. I watched the rest of Thunderbirds Are Go.
Was it the rest of it super legit and totally awesome?
Fucking amazing. I'll tell you. It's they make this. Oh, the makers of this movie of this show. It's just one love letter after another to the original Thunderbirds, And then there's an episode that is pretty much a tip of the hat to 2001: A Space Odyssey, and to the point where one of the Tracy brothers gets suckered outside by the AI to get killed, and he has to go out and check the AE-35 module. The AE-35 module is what was malfunctioning on the Discovery when Hal sent him outside. That is amazing.
That's pretty legit.
That's perfect. And I don't know that he even mentioned it in the movie. It might just be a reference to the book. And
that would be double legit, honestly. If you take something out of the book, not the movie, that's like super tip of the hat.
Yeah. So this is one of these, and the computer graphics for the Tracy brothers and stuff make them look and move more puppet-like later on in the series. So they become more marionette-ish, and I'm just eating every moment of this thing up. I couldn't turn it off. I was doing like 3 episodes in a row. Guys, get over to Amazon, watch it. Allegedly, there's another 12 episodes already been viewed in England and New Zealand. There's a second series that's under production right now, and they have already been contracted for the 3rd series.
That's super legit.
It is fantastic.
Amazon and Netflix have been doing good in their own stuff.
Yep.
Between that and occasionally being able to watch stuff on Hulu and all, I'm thinking about when I move not keeping basic cable.
Yeah, I'm done. I haven't had basic cable now for 3 years, maybe 4.
Even like the only thing I'm watching right now is freaking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the DC show Legends of Tomorrow. And honestly, basic cable for the whole year costs more than just buying those 2 series on freaking DVD.
Yeah, it really.
That's not even assuming I can't get them for free.
That is really the economic equation you start running yourself through.
I don't watch enough football to care. And when I do, half the time I'm streaming it online too. So
yeah, and frankly, the Netflix series, like, and I know this is sacrilege, but Daredevil and Punisher coming forward and things like that, I'm not a fan, and I'm thinking seriously about ditching Netflix because I get everything I want from Amazon and Hulu.
Absolutely.
Amazon and Hulu.
If that's all you need, then it's all you need. There's no point in paying for more of them.
Yeah.
Like, the big thing that might have kept me watching network TV is this new Star Trek series is coming out. But it's not coming out on network TV. It's going to be on CBS On Demand, which I'm not fucking paying for.
Yeah, fuck that noise. Fuck CBS On Demand.
Like, if they have, like, a catalog of every, like, back episode of freaking NCIS or some such shit, maybe. Because at that point, that's a DVD set of that every year. If they have all their TV shows on there, maybe. But they have to watch that price point and be careful, because it's a competitive market now.
It sure is. It sure is.
Oh, so the second movie I watched is on Amazon Prime for free.
Really? And what is that, sir?
Guns of the Magnificent Seven.
Oh, fuck you. Okay, so on Saturday, Belinda Librarian and I we had no idea what we were going to watch, and we decided that with the Magnificent Seven coming out, she had never seen the original 1960 Magnificent Seven. So Chuck and I, along with Belinda, watched the Magnificent Seven. So and we saw that Prime one was on there. How was it?
Mediocre.
Okay, so it got 21% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's not that mediocre. It's better than that.
Okay.
It's better than 20%. The first thing to start with is, yes, it doesn't have Yul Brynner. I believe he was dead at this point.
Right. It's got Kennedy, doesn't it?
George Kennedy, who actually is a decent stand-in. He's not the same. He's not as high caliber, but he's a solid stand-in. And honestly, I had no real problem with any of the actors. In fact, the main bad guy is, I forget his name, but he's been in so much sci-fi stuff. He was Kang in the original Star Trek series. He was the Draconian general in Buck Rogers. He's been in everything. I forget his name.
That's fine. He's one of those character
Silva,
actors.
Michael Silver or something like that.
All right.
He's been through some stuff, and he was perfectly fine. He's got a very, very unique speaking method. You'll recognize him immediately by that.
Okay.
And he was solid. All the actors were solid. And it was a good, solid movie. No great shakes. I mean, it's still like a 70s movie, for Christ's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember that their idea of pacing and action were different then.
Yes, they were.
They did the best they could with their characters. I actually liked that they didn't do the whole go out of their way to make every character have their own super legit scene throughout the rest of the movie. Some of
Yeah.
them die without ever doing anything super amazing. Because sometimes that shit happens.
Yep.
I don't think any of them died pointlessly. They all died in the midst of combat. Like, none of them were, meaningless deaths or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, the whole thing was pretty solid. Decent plot, good enough to steal for a role-playing game or something.
Sure. Absolutely.
It was a good time. I really enjoyed the cast. I liked their replacement for Steve McQueen, the guy who has the second Kino, no questions.
Yeah.
He was pretty cool, and I enjoyed it.
How many shots?
Overall, though, I give it about 2 shots of crack. I mean, it
Shots
wasn't
of crack.
great, but it's just as enjoyable as watching one of a modern action movie, and doesn't overstay its welcome, which is a
Yeah.
big thing for me.
Yep. And for brushheads out there, if you have not seen the 1960 Magnificent Seven, for gosh sakes, just buy it. Get out there and watch it.
Don't worry, with the new one coming up in the weeks coming up to it, I'm going to review between here and Co-host Corner, where I decide I'm going to announce the movies I'm going to review. So if you guys want to watch them beforehand,
Cool.
sort of like a movie club, but probably just me talking about it. But that way, at least you guys know what I'm talking about beforehand,
There you go.
so I can spoil the crap out of it. I will be watching all 3 versions of Magnificent Seven or Seven Samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven, and then again I'm going to watch Battle Beyond the Stars because, damn it,
Because it's Magnificent
version.
Seven.
it is.
And why wouldn't you? And interesting, both Battle Beyond the Stars and the Magnificent Seven have Robert Vaughn in it.
The same exact role with some of the same lines.
Exactly.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty hilarious when you put it dovetail it up against each other. So yeah, Seven Samurai is 3 hours and 45 minutes long, and it's
Worth it.
and it's subtitled. It's
You wouldn't want to watch it too often. You're not going to watch it with your kid. You're not going to watch it with your wife or significant other unless they're really into that. But it's worth a good watch.
I suppose I ought to watch it once just for the sake of watching it.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the caliber of actors that are in the Magnificent Seven, honestly, it has that caliber of actors. They just happen to be Japanese.
Yeah, it's got
Toshiro Mifune in that
in it. Yeah,
plays his character to the hilt. It's great.
yeah.
It's a classic.
Absolutely.
It's one of those movies. I'm not saying necessarily buy it. I'd have to see how much it costs, but definitely watch it. I saw it over a friend's house. We were getting ready for a feudal Japanese role-playing game. And he's like, "Let's watch this for inspiration."
For 4
and we
hours.
did, and I was like, "That's super cool."
Cool. Well, I will watch it, and I'll take it in and see what I can do with it. I'm sure it's amazing. I just have to be in the right place to have 3 hours and 45 minutes. I don't know what to do with.
Watch it in 2 sittings. I feel like there's a point in the movie, and actually this is a good note for a lot of longer movies. Like when I watched the extended version of Fellowship of the Ring, there's a point where you can stop and walk away and come back. In fact, most movies that break 2 hours, you can totally do that. There's a spot where you're like, this is a good spot. And when you've seen the movie, you know when that spot is.
Speaking of things that are coming in the future, I'm going to do a game review of Blood Rage.
Oh, shit.
So this is a Cool Mini or Not, and I didn't think I'd ever buy another Cool Mini or Not game, but I heard the D6 generation rave about it. It's a Viking game about glory and dying in Ragnarok, and it sounds amazing, and the miniatures are beautiful, and I just need to... Sean, he is king. Dude, we need to play this game. I suspect this would be good times. So
I will say this as a somewhat selfish thing. I am, kind of friends with the guy who's in charge of their sales now.
Yeah.
And they're working on fixing a lot of stuff in that place. So
good.
Don't let old grudges necessarily keep you from buying something that looks good.
Yep. Blood Rage was considered to be one of the best games of 2015, and it's in that Cool Mini or Not style box that Zombicide comes in. So it's got 44 plus miniatures in it,
Holy moly, yeah.
and basically you are vying for control as Viking clans to take different parts of Midgard, or not Midgard, but different parts of there, and then you've got the big tree in the middle, and it's going to be super amazing. It's designed by the same guy that did Chaos in the Old World
Okay, cool.
and
FFG.
yeah, by FFG, and I've got that game too. And I haven't played that game in a long, long time because I think I didn't understand how to play it the first time. But Blood Rage sounds like super fun, and
Yeah.
so I think it's pretty fast too once you understand it.
And we'll probably be doing more reviews on the actual website.
Mhm.
And as a rule, I at least am not going to review anything that our sponsors do because, release there, because that seems like kind of, I don't know. You couldn't necessarily take our opinion for what it was because they are sponsors.
Right.
I'm going to review a lot of random stuff that I get.
Sure. And I just transitioned back to the face cam here to give you one last little shot here. You've got PwMenothJohn.com. That's your source for all things John Spencer and Menoth John. John has got editing capabilities on that thing. So, John, feel free to use that website as your personal blog as well. And I've got we've got the podcast link up there. We are going to be all in on the audio still, and we want you to keep on listening. And if you feel good about the show and you'd like to help support and keep the lights on, going to our own web hosting is an expense. And, it's not we can afford it. We're doing good. But if you'd like to continue to support the show, we appreciate it. And you can do that down here at www.patreon.com/MenothJohn. So, John, I think we got ourselves a show.
Absolutely. It's time to let people go watch their Games of Thrones.
All right, folks. On behalf of Daenerys Targaryen, the man up here in the corner, my mighty right hand, Mr. John Spencer, I'm Menoth John. We're going to be back here next Sunday, goddammit, and we're going to paint shit and tell you smack. So there you go. Hot damn tamale. See you next week.